more revelations keep coming. Okay, when it comes to, this is going to be about two things. And I'm going to say the two things before I get too into explaining one to forget the other one. So the two things are, when people say godlike, also the concept of when people say like the sun god, the moon god, the different gods, all the different gods. Okay, there's that being godlike, and the idea of generational spirituality. Generational spirituality I'll do first, because it's easy. Think of Paul Mitchell, the guy Paul Mitchell invented Paul Mitchell shampoos or products, okay? Say that you did direct harm to Paul Mitchell. Most of the time, somebody who doesn't like Paul Mitchell won't buy a Paul Mitchell brand product. And do you actually know why that is? Well, Paul Mitchell would be a good subject, and I don't expect anyone to try to do it, because it could also go in there and not believe and make it right. So if you went and bought Paul Mitchell products and you hated Paul Mitchell, you've done him wrong in a vibrational negative sense. You go buy Paul Mitchell products. You use his products, which are spiritually his children. Okay, that sounds really weird, but Paul Mitchell's dad is the grandfather of every bottle of shampoo that he's ever invented, that ever has his name put on it, because he is the originator. Just like you get a new scab and you peel the scab off and it grows back, and then you peel that scab off and it grows back. I mean, it's a different kind of comparison between Paul Mitchell and a scab, but I mean, that's how it can actually be. Say, every bottle of shampoo is an extension of him, just like every child of God is an extension of God. Every bottle of shampoo is an extension of God, but extensions down a long, long line of generational things. But when it comes to Paul Mitchell, he is the God of Paul Mitchell shampoo. But there are many kinds of gods. That's godlike. Okay, so when people start saying godlike, they mean like God, but not quite God. So it separates them from God. So then when the godlike people, a lot of people that are godlike, they get their powers in the afterlife. Like a lot of the spirits and stuff that people talk about, of all these crazy spirits, they were crazy and awesome. I mean, crazy, I guess, in our words, but they were really mysterious and awesome during their life on Earth. But then, say it was a person when they died. Say it was a cat when it was a person, or a cat when it was alive, a person when it was alive. Any other kind of thing. Even a blade of grass could have had enough consciousness to understand once it dies and goes to the light. And on the afterlife, between the physical realm and the astral realm, there are the realms of like the causal plane, the thing that creates the elements, the plane that is imaginary, that you have your dreams and nightmares in. I mean, I know these are so weird to understand or to try to fathom, but if you've ever had a dream, you understand that a dream is real. If you ever had a nightmare, you understand that it's a really scary dream that seems real. Well, what ends up being real is when you come back to your present physical reality, you're like, oh, well, that was just a dream, that wasn't real. But it was real in its own way. Are you understanding this now? Okay, so godlike, so the whole generational thing, it sounds sort of funny. Say Paul Mitchell's child's child would be the spiritual great-great-granddaughter or great-great-grandson of every Paul Mitchell bottle of shampoo in a spiritual sense, because the idea of the shampoo is one thing. No matter how many bottles you make of it, billions and billions can sell, but that same vibration is in every single bottle. So I didn't finish the one thing. If you were somebody who did Paul Mitchell direct harm, through 7 years of DNA memory, even through the product, even through the spiritual product, 7 generations of DNA memory, it would take for Paul Mitchell products to forgive a descendant of someone who wronged Paul Mitchell. Like a descendant of, say, somebody who was the descendant of someone who wronged Paul Mitchell, and there was 7, I don't know if it's 7 generations or if it's the 7th generation where it changes. It could be, like, think about it. Grandparent, parent, you, that's 3 generations. Great-grandparent, that's the 4th. But if you do 2 patterns, because, say, when your great-grandparent could tell a story, sometimes you have a great-great-grandparent, and she could tell a story that is so riveting that you hold it against, say racism would be a way to remember it. Say you hold something against racism, or hold racism against people because of a story your great-great-grandmother told you. When you become a great-grandparent, that is the 6th generation. When you become a great-great-grandparent, that would be the 7th generation. So I don't know if the DNA memory lasts that long or if it lasts from the 5th to the 6th.